a while, and then he's basically now in Tampa. We know each other when we were kids. And so is Dr. Alprin. Dr. Alprin is one of the doctors in our group. He's a model. Okay, he's a good-looking Russian model. Okay, back in the days.
That's many years
when we were
ago.
young. Okay, when we were young. Okay, back in the days we were young, and he's one of he's still working in my office. And then, Basil, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I was going to say that when I see you, everyone looks young and healthy. You, Harold, Alexi looks like he just came out of school. So whatever you doing, keep it up, guys. You're healthy, happy.
Must be Florida.
I don't know.
It could be Florida, but the good news is that we have a mindset that is I think everything else is for us, the mindset is really key. To have an open mindset and and be able to work together. I remember when we were nobody, and then we're still nobody. Okay, but Basil, I mean, I look at your credential. I mean, you have so many little credential. I don't know how you get all that. Okay, maybe you can. Oh, before I say that, Basil is gonna help us to teach our group about periodontal. One of the main things for general dentists to be successful in perio, not perio, but is to bring up the numbers. Is really incorporate perio surgery and perio key element. So that Basil is going to help us to train that, and I think we're also going to be lucky enough to get a lot of toys like the laser toys. I mean, I think I discussed with you before, some of the laser toys we can get at really inexpensive fees, and I kind of gone over with Basil as far as how, how should I say it? I mean, how I get my Invisalign Luminar. I mean, I'm getting 2 Invisalign Luminar for free, which is like a $30,000 toy, and then I'm one of the first one to get it, and then I'll have 2 more in probably another month or so. So that's one of the program that I get. I'm gonna go over with our group how we do that. How you focus on the workflow, and then how to push you up from like double or triple or quadruple your numbers. But anyway, today's funder is actually done by Dr. Hans. Dr. Hans is a Koi Institute, graduate. She been working with us for a long time. We have a much bigger group, but most of the time on holidays or any particular event, we usually have a small number that showed up, and then we usually basically, keep it in YouTube, and then the rest of the doctors basically catch up. We probably have about 700 to 800 people in our little tiny group we started in COVID. So we basically meet online once a week, and we go over all the details. So without further ado, Dr. John, maybe you can get started.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, doctors. So it's the time for our Care First dental webinar. We have a couple webinar talking about how to help our network dentists to get profit. How to plan you. As a dentist, basically we are a doctor and also a businessman. Is that right? So
Absolutely.
some doctor in our group is getting to the age to retire, but what from past what I learned is if we don't have we don't have the plan to get that exist our career. Sometimes at the end we have the very sad situation. Okay, but right now I think from past to the 5 years, except just like COVID-19 happened, we have the online digital dentist. So we learn each other a lot, especially for me. So in our group, we have so many talented doctor here. Okay, yeah, like Dr. Stephen Shui is in our group. I think is a very talented, implants doctor. And here we also have the Dr. Wei. We also for the past many years teach us how to do the guided surgery, and so many other doctors, Dr. Lu Yong, and then right now. But the thing is, we at dentists, we don't not only just learn the technique, we have to learn the strategy. Okay, so in our group, I know in our group, only few doctors have very good strategy, like Dr. Harold Hui. Yeah, Dr. Hui have the many practice, and right now the thing is, he can 100% get out his practice. He hired an associate. Let staff to run the office. That's the nature of the dental business. Okay, and also like Dr. Han. Dr. Han is, I think, the genius daughter. He she run very successful the practice, and also right now she almost 100% get off her practice, and also develop a very powerful AI software because the Life Sheet. This software can help us the revenue cycle. Yeah. So we have so many this kind of doctor here. So from the past webinar, we know for our dentists, we grow our practice. There are the two way. One way is organic. Okay, you learn some of the technique. You know you how to run your office. This is organic. Another way, okay, we have to know non-organic. Okay, if we, as a practice we bonding together, we have the power because you alone, you to buy, for example, you buy the supply, they just give you retail price. But when we have the 20, 50, even 20, 100 practice bonding together, we have the negotiation power. They, no matter supply company, lab, even insurance, they will be give us a good price. And not only that, because I think for the past the webinar, the Dr. Hui and the Dr. Han already explained that if we bonding together, yeah, and form a kind of DSO, and with high technique, uh, you have a lot of power. Even the private equity pay attention to you. So that's why you can exist. Okay, this is what we are going to do. It's what I learned from the past. So today, I just gave a quick opening. Then Dr. Hui and Dr. Han will explain further. And if you have questions, you can ask. Okay, sometimes we talking about the business part, about the EBITDA. Some doctors still after past several webinars still have some the doctor ask me what this mean, what that mean. Hope today we gave every doctor a clear answer about that and how our vision, how our route plan to success. I think right now we have a very good weapon. Everything is ready. Then just let us bonding together to go. Okay. Uh, I think for the dental office, if we want to grow our office two way, one organic way. Okay, you learn new technique, you learn how to run your business. This is organic way. And the next time when you grow practice is good to certain level, then when we bonding together, okay, then that way.
You're not attending this business.
Tina,
Then that way, the people, the private insurance, private equity pay attention to us. That's a big jump for us. Okay, we try to today explain to that. Okay, and also for this group, we have a training for that. For example, if you want to get the implant skill. You can learn. Yeah, we have the training, like patient training in Guatemala, Dr. Xue, and I go there. And also, if you want to know how to do the biomimetic for arch reconstruction, also we are plan another. Dr. Han will be teach you. Okay, this we try to form a platform for our daughter. We success together. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, for the well, I just roughly outline here our step. Step one, you are at a solo practice. Okay. Most of the solo practice are around right now around $1 million. Okay. But it's better we grow up to at least 1.5. Okay. You can learn, implant technique, you learn Invisalign, and you learn the biomimetic dentistry, that you can grow better, and also learn how to run the business, the skill. Okay, then you get right now common doctor office appetite is 20%, but when you learn some technique, you grow, you get to the 25 EBITDA. Okay, when you go to the 1.2 million, 1.5 million, your value increase. Okay. The first thing you have to make effort, make you practice grow. Okay, that's the first step. And the second step, we join the group. Okay, because when we bonding together, for the past many years, whenever we do the group buy, for example, we buy the bone graft, the memory, we have the very powerful negotiating power. Okay, we get a lot of the good price, and also this time, Dr. Hui already connect a lot of the supply company, dental lab. Even we can negotiate with the insurance company, we get a good price for our member. Okay, this is the second step. Okay, that's okay. Then we when we grow up, then we can get ready for form a kind of the pre-DSO and the DSO. Okay, right now, Dr. Wei and Dr. Han, they have a lot of this kind of experience. Okay, they are consulted some the DSO strategy and some the PE company, PE guy. Then they teach us how to do the DSO. Then that when we have more office together, that our value is much higher. Okay. So, and today, Dr. Han will be explain this part, okay, to us, okay. So this is our purpose. Okay, we just want to getting together and grow together, and this pretty, ideal way for our dentists. It's better for our practice solo. When we practice together, we have much power, much potential. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. This is the hope of our have this kind of vision, and we are as solo dentists. We'll grow together, form the group, and then we can form a private equity purchasing ready organization. That will be everybody in this organization will have the benefit, not only the financial, and also we get the freedom for that. Okay.
干嘛呢你？
Okay. So I think I just start make and the next I give the time to the Dr. Hui. You have something open, or Dr. Han? Hey, Dr. Hui, you are not open. You're mute.
Sorry about that. I think maybe, yeah, I was listening to you, and then there are other people that didn't forget to mute themselves. So there's a lot of background noise. So I just try to mute myself. Anyway, I think this weekend is long weekend, so I'm gonna try to make it kind of short. Dr. Allison have a few slides that she really want to show how the inorganic growth, which is how you double your volume or you double your revenue overnight. Okay, that's really what I think is the key for how to expand yourself. If you can double your vision overnight and then you can do it 1, 2, and 3 times, then your value will exponentially grow. So that's a very, very important key. So I guess I'll have Dr. Hans go ahead and show her presentation.
Yes. Hey guys, I just prepared a presentation for like an hour and a half, but I just lost it. So I'm gonna use some slides, some other presentation, and convey my message as clear as possible.
I probably can give you your slide. Let me see.
No, I just built it today.
You're quick.
Yeah, but the problem is that I think I don't have the whole, like, I closed it by mistake and I didn't save it properly, so it just disappeared. But I think I can
I
just
think I have something screenshot from the
Yeah, from
previous.
the slides. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I have that too.
You want that one? Let me
Yeah,
let me
why don't
see.
you, Hans? Yeah, go ahead, show yours, and then we can forward. I can forward mine to you, or Dr. John, you can forward what you have for Allison.
I think thank you, Dr. Hui and Dr. Zhang. I'm so sorry, guys. I think I can do it the best I can, but it won't be as smooth as the past presentation. I just lost like 5 minutes ago all the slides I prepared, but but I can take some of my old slides and convey the message, but it will not be as visual as it used to be.
Is this slide you need?
Yeah, that's a good slide.
Let me see.
Yeah, can you see it? That's a good slide.
Oh
How
yeah,
you get to
I'll
the
start
different
with that.
EBITDA.
Yeah,
because
thank you,
you have
Dr.
to get to a certain EBITDA, and that's how you get it 18 times EBITDA. How you get from because when you sell your EBITDA, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead. That's a good slide.
Yeah, so guys, I apologize. It won't be as visual. It's gonna be a lot more talking, I guess, here. Okay, so I'll start. Basically, what I wanted to present with my slides was that I know a lot about private equity, venture capitalists, and I think part of the DSO is to help Dr. Hui to really explain this inorganic growth. My slides was prepared in different category, like organizations, what's inorganic growth, what's organic growth. So I'm just going to do it verbally. So for example, in my practice, we have me, right, as the owner, and then underneath this Dr. Michael and Jenny. And Jenny's the office manager. She's been in my office for almost 5 years, and Michael's been there for 4 years. And then we have the 3 hygienists after that. So obviously, as we grow, yeah, I wish I had my slides, but
Yeah, I think I got you talking about. Let me show you here.
oh, we can go back to the private equity slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we have a set of accountant, which Dave Beast, a small accountant, local. We have a lawyer, Scott Henderson, whose dad was a dentist, and he worked at the law firm, a big law firm in Seattle. And then we use Gusto for payroll system, right? And then with 3 dentists, one's general, 2 are COIs, and then we have a 4th one joining us, Jay, Dr. Cho. And obviously what we sell is functional dentistry. So what I'm trying to say is that that's one of the organization we have, right? And then we have the software company. Basically, I'm the CEO, and then we have the COO. I prepared a slide for that, but I cannot show it right now. So they all work for the CEO, right? And the reason why I know a lot about private equity is because my CFO, he's 84 years old, and he used to own a bank, and he and I, we worked together for 2 years, and we try to understand what's venture capitalist, private equity, and debt servicing. And what happened is that he always tells me, do you know who works for you and who do you work for as a CEO? Because the hierarchy charts is very important for any organization, especially if you go higher level. So basically, the team works for the CEO and the CEO works for investors, right? So if we take this analogy, basically, Dr. Hui and I work for Dr. Zhang and I work for Dr. Hui because Dr. Hui is the CEO, and technically Dr. Hui work for the investors, right? But right now we don't have any investors, and it just us, right? So I like to say that just like Amazon, we're kind of customer centric. So we also work for customers. So LifeSeed work for customers and investors. But obviously, those decisions are made by the CEO. And I put a slide on where we talk about like this freedom, right? As a CEO, we have a lot of freedom, but also freedom without responsibility, it's not good. Like you'll get lost in terms of what's your purpose. So we have to keep that hierarchy, that structure in perspective, I think. So obviously when a CEO makes a decision, there's a lot of freedom, yes, but again, there's some responsibility that we need to fulfill, and that has to be within that has to be aligned with those purposes, right? But I'm just gonna talk about a little bit about the DSO, why DSO is interesting because it follows private equity model. And the reason why I followed that, it's a little bit like a startup as well. So merge acquisition is a type of business in itself. And when you form a merge acquisition, you look at investors. And at what stage do you involve investors is very critical. I mean, I don't think there's any easy way to explain this process. So we're just gonna use the chart from Dr. Zhang. I'm sorry, I lost my slides. It would be a lot easier, but this slide is very interesting, I think. So for example, if you do the parallel, like my LifeSeed, right? The LifeSeed startup. So when you first start your startup, so you can go ahead and fund it yourself, like what we do as a solo practice. Like when you're solo practice, you have a revenue under 650K, then that's your business, that's your practice. You start like that. And merge acquisition, we start with solo first. And then you have another practice between 650 to 1.2 million. And then you have one that has like 1.2 and more. So these solo practice is like startups, if you take that analogy, right? And when you have startups and you want to bring them together at that initial startups phase, then you have to ask yourself, who's going to fund me? But with merge acquisition, what's great is that you already have a revenue. You already have assets, like you have a practice, you have goodwill, like that kind of assets. Startups, we don't have anything, right? So the only thing that we can get funded is venture capitalists. And at that level, just like the beginning of merge acquisition, you haven't formed a DSO yet, right? This is like DSO group. Then at this point, you would sell to your investor a lot of equity. If they acquire you a solo practice, or like me, for example, LifeSeed, and we don't have any revenue, then we lose about 40% of equity for like, let's say your company's value at 10 million, right? For like 40%, then they just give you 4 million for 40% of your company. That's just an example. So for solo practice who does not belong to like a group, a DSO, you haven't merged it, you haven't acquired a practice yet, you're solo, right? You're literally by yourself. Then you get sold at 20% of your EBITDA for a small practice. A medium-sized practice, you get sold at also 20% of your the EBITDA, it's about 20%. Sorry, you get sold at 50 to 75% of your revenue, which is this amount, right? And then the EBITDA is about three times of the EBITDA for like medium-sized practices. And you have bigger practice that's like 1.2 million more, then you can ask for 4 to 5 times the EBITDA. So let's say from here to here, you decide that, hey, I don't want to be a startup or solo practice. I can go ahead and merge with my friends. And you're going to start merging. And once you merge and you acquire other friends' practices, you become, let's say, a 25 group, right, of DSO. Then suddenly your EBITDA jump. So let's say you're 1.2 million, your EBITDA can jump to 8. So like literally you can double the sell price of your practice. And then let's say 3 years from now, we as a CEO is very good. So he grows the practices to maybe 30 practices, and we all make about 40 million as a group. Then your EBITDA can go from 8 to literally like 9 or 10 times your EBITDA. And let's say 5 years from now, we grow even more. So let's say we have like 60 practices right now. So all the practice combined, the revenue, it's at 80 million. So all the practice can be sold at 12 times or 14 times. So it's 140 million, right? So how it I mean, I simplify a lot about this concept here. And the other thing is that, let's say you're joining a DSO at this stage, right? So let's say your practice is worth 1 million, and then this DSO's value 140 million. So the amount of, we call it like the cap table, the capitalization table, then your 1 million can only buy very little equity in this kind of like fully grown DSO format, right? But if you haven't formed a DSO yet and you're solo practice and you want to form it with 25 of your colleagues and everyone's making 1.2 million, we haven't really grown to 80 million, then your equity level will be much more higher when you enter the DSO at this level. So this is how we look at merge acquisition. It's called arbitrage. That's a term that we use in finance to kind of give practice owner equity. So obviously, if I'm a DSO that's $80 million more, we probably have systems that's more mature than someone who hasn't formed a DSO yet. So I get picky. So I'm like, I don't want any practice that's 1.5 less, right? I want 1.5 and more to join my DSO. So obviously, they guesstimate the next 3 years. That's where these DSOs like to full-size DSO will absorb a lot of these practices, especially the healthy ones. And I mean, that's the industry, right? That they say about 3 years. So that's I didn't come up with that. It's just data that they came up with. So that's a very simplified explanation of how a company structure, like my practice, right? I'm the owner and I have my office manager, and I have my managing dentist, and I talk to them. And then I have a set of lawyer, a set of accountant, and human resources that I utilize. And I cannot use the same set for my startup because the startup require an accountant that actually is personal taxes and then corporate taxes and then audit. Because if we become an enterprise, we have to volunteer get audited. I mean, small business, we don't have to get audited, but big practice, we have to voluntarily get audited ourselves, right? And then we have other people that audit us. So that so the accounting firm that we utilize is very different than the practice accounting firm. And then we're not LLC, we're incorporated in a way that a lawyer has to be able to represent litigations and other things, right? Especially if we involve medical aspect of things. So it's like, what do you want to build, right? So if you build a merger acquisition, you cannot think about as a solo practice. The moment you merge, you become like a startup, like an enterprise now. And in like the merger acquisition bring you some type of equity ownership and a growth that depending when you join the DSO can translate to 100,000, if not millions, of assets for you. I guess it's a lot, so I'm not sure if you have questions.
I'm sure a lot of people have questions because most people, when they see it the first time, you don't usually get it right away. It takes a little bit time to, to really sink in, because when I first see it, I didn't really get it. But basically, EBITDA is basically your profits. What we do, get our profit, before taxes. And then, maybe we'll entertain, a couple of questions and see how, how we can clarify a little bit easier. Anybody who want to ask, they can just unmute themselves.
Yeah, that was a great presentation. Thanks. That's good. So the question I guess I had is, what is the timeline to get from a single practice to something like 10 or 20 practices with the revenue of 80 million plus? What's a reasonable goal to get to that objective?
I mean, there are a lot of factors, right? Oftentimes it's human relationship. That's the biggest problem. Because when you talk about owners, dentists, they have to get along. So the culture is the key element to bond everyone together. I think that's the biggest factor. And from merge acquisition, it's also how many practice do you know that will want to merge it with you? It's going to buy into this culture as well. Like there's a DSO that's my friend runs it. He's a periodontist. They capped at 24 practices and they don't know who else to go after, because that's all their friends and that they know that will actually buy into the culture, right? So obviously, 25, they generate about 50 millions right now because they're specialists and they built it about 6-7 years ago. It's very well run. But can they get to 80 million? They plateaued, right? But I think in this case with NDPO, it's not the issue here. I think Dr. Hui will be the CEO and we will support him. But I don't think it's an issue here because there's so many members and the culture is very well aligned. So, and also the organic growth that I haven't talked about. I talked about last Sunday. But the organic growth is a big part as well. So when you form this kind of merge acquisition, you don't need a pro forma. Like when I formed my startup, I need a pro forma. They cost about $10,000 nowadays. I think 15 years old, they probably cost like $5,000, but like 10 to 20,000, a pro forma can be created. And the pro forma give you a projection, like how fast can get to that 80 million. It takes account into like a little bit like the health of these practices, your growth, like with LifeC, we have the AI where we do revenue operation and revenue transformation that I can explain a little bit more, that we felt that it can bring the growth to 10%. Merge acquisition can bring it up to 15% as well, because like, let's say you're 10 million, you acquire practice that's 2 million, you just went up by 20%, right? Or I mean, less than 20, but you just went up 12 million, right? And let's say you purchase, like you acquire another $3 million practice, then you just went to 15, right? So it really depends on the pool of practices that you access and the quality of them, and where or not can you drive the growth. Right now, the market's about 3%. Oh, yeah. It's not, sorry, that was the wrong slides. I'm sorry, guys. I lost all my slides. I got it ready right before the meeting, but that's not that. Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. You can still go for that slide. I mean, that's a slide. There's a
Yeah,
slide that you changed from.
I'll
1.2
find
to 2.
maybe I'll find my slides and we can recap.
Yeah, I mean, I think that John can get you the slide, but
Yeah.
ultimately,
How about I think for the organic growth and something like, Dr. Hai, I think if you compare this to office, your office or the other office, we can let dentists understand better for the EBITDA and
Yeah. So basically getting to 80 millions, it's a 5 years plan. And obviously we have to present the group the business plan and the visions, and every step you have goals, right? So this slide, I think Dr. Zhang is so gracious to present it, is that, with data, we talk about revenue operations is a term that you have a team, right? and then you have data, and you have customer, right? But then the customer success, like your soccer team, right? You have no clue where the goal is, right? Your team has no clue what is customer success, right? So they try to, like, my front office, she does a bunch of things, but it might not be necessary for customer success. And my assistant, like, she's always busy, and I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm doing this because I think it's important. But I'm like, is it relevant to the customer success? She's like, I don't know. So what we do is that we run data and we define customer success very, very clearly with the team, that, okay, the KPI, key practice indicator, like the seat time, what's your production today? How many patient left without reappointing? What's the review, like your Google review? Like, these are KPIs that we run the team with. So they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. This is the goal. I'm not supposed to reorganize the shelf, right? I'm like, yeah, we need to reorganize, but maybe we should do it once every quarter when we have like a downtime. Like, we schedule time for that. But production 8 to 5, I need that production, and we need to break it down yearly, quarterly, monthly, daily, right? So the goal has to be very, very clear. It's not like I'm trying to make them see like 50 patients with 2 assistants here. That's not the goal. The goal is like a very clear KPI, and we run this business, and this is called revenue operation. You have a team, and you have to define customer success using numbers, and it's a data, and then you run the team with it. And then what LifeSeed does is that we go one level higher. It's called revenue transformation. So the Koi Center, I have doing a lot of Koi's dentistry since I graduated after my residency, is that Koi's show you technique that's driven by evidence-based. So certain things that we do, we want to make it last more than 10 years, and we want to lower patients' risk while they're in our practice. So he introduced techniques, and then what he did, John, is that they created systems. So this is a system, right? You implement a system. Like, I think we talked about occlusion like last week, and we're like, okay, these are the criteria we look for occlusion, right? Why do we not include the other criteria? It's because evidence it's not showing there. And then it's not just evidence, it's also John's years of experience with his pen, right? And then when can we replicate it? And we all want something to last more than 10 years, and the risk to lower patients' risk as well as we do those things. But what's missing is the workflow. The Koi Center doesn't introduce workflow. And then also revenue cycle, like, how do we build this? How do we build this very efficiently? So workflow is more like the stakeholder, from patient not arriving to your practice to marketing to conversion of marketing. Those are marketing leads and marketing conversion. And then once a patient goes through your practice, right? The seat time, did you explain the treatment well? Did you have intro camera? That's like a sales conversion. Like, marketing conversion, sales conversion are 2 different things. And there's no company out there that helps you with sales conversion. So that's what life is about. We create workflow, and we AI at the critical areas, the workflow that we don't want to be human dependent anymore. Like, we're not replacing human, but at the same time, like, if we mess up the estimation because we didn't verify the insurance, or the front office had no clue what the breakdown is, or they don't understand what implant involve a bone graft, then you just missed the $500 estimation. That's like way off, right? And the customer success just went down 50%, right? So workflow it's all the stakeholders, from front office to assistant to hygienists to doctors, and you're as strong as the weakest person on the whole entire workflow. And then we AI critical areas, the money part and the seat time, right? So that way you're not dependent on your team at those critical areas, because as a business owner, it's insane. It's insane to depend on your team, and your team are humans, which they're great. You still need your team. I mean, my team members, I mean, Dr. Amy's been with me for like 9 years. Dr. Michael's been with me 4 years. My office manager 5 years. My hygienist has been like 12 years with me. I mean, we need the team, right? The team has to be with you, and they grow with you, and they're well trained. But still, I mean, these are humans, and healthcare, it's very manual, very the knowledge is very tribal. It's like not everyone has the same knowledge, and you try to build this team and try to keep them in your practice for a long time to pass on this knowledge. But we're all human, right? And they do a lot. I mean, there's a lot burned out in healthcare, especially in medicine. So you have to be able to help your team member, you know, get to a level with ease so that they can focus on the patient. So this is to showcase that you have 30%. I mean, the biggest expense is 30% staff, right? Well, we're not trying to replace humans here, but some offices are just not run efficiently. You have too many staff. And it's like I have an office in Calgary because that's where we went, my friend's office, and they make $6 million a year. I think about 7 million. And they're looking at the mall, they have a lot of patients, but the front office, they hire front office to check the work of the other front office. Who didn't schedule, who missed the appointments, who do we not call? I mean, that's all she does, right? And we're like, well, is that really necessary, right? To have a front office to oversee other front office, and then he has like 2 office managers on top. I mean, it gets very expensive, especially you have to pay for the benefits and all that. But if you can create efficiency, so we include revenue cycle driven by AI at the critical area within the workflow. And then we implement systems and techniques that we feel that it's been evidence-based. But yeah, it's a
Thank-
lot. Sorry.
No, that's a good explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, ultimately, the first step, I think, for most offices, like, the office that she was talking about, doing $7 million, one office. I mean, that's actually a very, very good numbers. I mean, I talked to Basil earlier. I didn't know that when I was younger. I didn't know what's 8-figure, and I didn't know what's a 9-figure. So when you hit the 8-figure, then you hit the 9-figure, then you would know. Okay, and the key is, how do you streamline that process? The first thing I always think that is, you need to have a very streamlined process, that your mothership has to be really, really organized. So how do we use AI to organize that conversion? How do we get the people to come in, and how do you get that, AI to monitor that conversion, and then to get customer satisfaction efficiently, and then later on how to make it, a referral process or a maintenance process. That's really the most important key, because everything has a workflow and every process has automation. Our goal is to teach our member, our core member, how do we expand to a different level. The purpose of that is kind of what, at least on my terms, we copy what is good in other business, like a multi-level marketing. You learn from them, they make sure that, their downline is the same or better than the upline. So this way, they will be very successful, and then you will be very successful at the same time. So it's a process that we make sure that all of us in a team are successful. That, I guess, that goes without saying. So I think, for example, I have some of my team here, I have some of the doctors here, and I let them know that, some of the key people in my team, they're going to have share from me, sharing with them. So they will be working extra just to make sure that the team is going to the right direction. Because if the team is going to the right direction, and you have the buy-in from each individual person, and they have equity, holding, they would be more serious as far as, focusing where you're going to go. And they're not going to concern that next door is giving them $5 difference, and they took that job because of that $5 differences. So that's a way that you keep your team on track, and monitor and take your processes to an exponential level. And then you focus on people, I mean, at least for me, focus on people that's way smarter than I am, that has been doing this, very successfully, in the different manners. So, I think, Allison, do you have anything you want to continue your slides? Oh, you're pretty much done.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if people have questions, but the key part is that staff salary is the biggest variable expenses, and this is something that because when you hire staff, they help you to build a practice, but at the same time, there's a lot of human errors and circumstance, like I get sick or things like that, right? So onboarding and various things, and right now what we're looking at in the whole healthcare, like $1 trillion waste, like probably 1/4 of what we spend, like 4.9 trillion. It's over 1 trillion. It's wasted in inefficiency. And then you look at $2 trillion dollars of opportunity loss, right? Because everything in healthcare is manual, it's tribal, and it's outdated. The technology is outdated, and the data is just not together. It's isolated. So the question is like, can we like low-hanging fruit, like can we improve the system without spending too much and improve the profit and bring it to a 10% level? So that's a key element that we want to do for this DSO, organic growth, right? So in essence, it's good. So how to get to 80 million within 5 years? I think this DSO is positioned well because we have multiple tools and resources, and the participants, there's a high level participants, right? So to get even 50 million, you probably need 25 well-run practices, maybe 30 if it's not medium well-run. But to get 80 million, you probably 40, 50. I mean, I don't think it's easy, but I don't think it's impossible neither. I think we have a lot of advantages here.
We have a question here. How many practices are signed up?
That I would not know. I mean, I'm the CTO on this DSO, so I happen to know a lot about private equity. So I'm doing the inorganic merger acquisition presentation here, but I think
Okay, Dr.
yeah.
Han, let me answer that question. Yeah. Before, if you want to form a DSO, you need a lot of money, at least, you have to buy the office one by one. I have a friend, I think a couple years ago, they are from the Marine, they are to the finance. They are buy office in the Las Vegas, but they are not in the field of dentistry. They are just try to do the investment. They buy 5 office, and all 5 office fail. Okay, but right now, because they don't have that kind of tool to handle the situation, but right now we are getting into the AI age. Right now, especially we have the opportunity. Right now, the life sheet developed by the Dr. Han is a very powerful tool, because this AI software, they can, do the revenue cycle management, for us. You see here, the insurance dentistry, this is Dr. Han's office. It's a 100% collection. I have used to have office in Bakersfield. Okay, I don't know how much percent, but later the doctor who buy my office told me, your your collection percentage is even not to get to the 80%. It's a lot of money. As a doctor, I just want to work hard, but I didn't collect.
Puta, que un montón de gente estaba ahí.
Yeah.
Andina,
So,
mute yourself. Yeah. Thank you.
okay. So the thing is, right now we have a good tool. Okay, live sheet. Right now, ask us how many doctor sign up. We don't need the doctor right now sign up. We form the group. You can join us. We have the 3 level. First level is free for every doctor, because when you join, we can do the group buy. We can use this number to negotiate with the supply company, the lab. We get better price, just as recently we tried to purchase the intraoral scanner. We get a very good price for that. Okay, yeah, because they saw we have so many doctors here. They love to lower the price for the group. Okay, this is member. Okay, basic member. We already have right now join about 70 daughter here, and it's free. And the next level, yeah, we are going to this Dr. we were talking about later. We charge $2.99 for the member. You join member, you get the benefit to subscribe the live sheet software. Okay, this software can help you verify insurance authorization and a lot of things. Okay, even confirm the appointment. They can reduce your employee 1.5 employee. Yeah, yeah. This is the thing. And also we have the next level. You join us like the fellow. Then we give you the training, not only the technique and also business part. And Dr. Hui have a lot of the wisdom. I think this is the only person in our group every weekend go out for the continual, not only continual education, for the business trip. He learned from the DEO. I think I don't know how many doctors here know about the DEO. That doctor, if you join that group, they promise you double, even triple your profit, something like that. And he learned a lot from the GME and the Schedule Institute. A lot of the training there. But as a solo practice, we didn't have that much the time and the energy to do that. But right now in our group, we have the Dr. Hui and Dr. Han. They do the things, okay, business part for us. Yeah, to make sure our plan, our vision became successful. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. For me, for almost 10 years, I think why I think back, I only do the implant. That's good for me, pretty good profit, you know. But recently I visited several office, yeah, like Dr. Han's office and other my local office and some office in San Francisco. It's really eye-opening. Okay, each office they have their own stringent, own character, stringiness. Okay, one daughter office there, they are almost 20 years. They just do the laser treatment, the knob. Okay, I didn't realize. I learned that, but I didn't. They do that kind of techniques very efficiently, a lot of benefit. Okay, so because as solo, we are isolate ourselves, but when we bonding together as a group, we learn each other, support each other, especially at the AI age. We have the live sheet, and also we have like Dr. Hui, this kind of have the enthusiasm to help each one of us. That's wonderful for us. Okay, let me see. We have another question.
Actually, it's not just me. I mean, I have a background, a lot of people that help me out, and I just very lucky. God has always given me, angels to help me out to move a lot of the needles. So, especially in this group, I invite a couple of my friends. Actually, there's two that solely, how should I put it? They're solely in AI. They focus on marketing. They're very young people. All they do is AI. They focus how to, okay, like, the other young man that I talked to, I bring him, he was in the lake. Okay. And he focused on SEO. He just teach me one of the things that he does. And I learned from him that, you search atlas and stuff like that, how you can bring your website into the first page of Google in 21 days. Okay. So every one of the small additional changes that help you, to streamline your process. It's just like the book Atomic Habits. When you improve each one of the model, let's just say conservatively 20%, your overall benefit would definitely 4 to 5 times your numbers. With the 70 doctors that we have in our group, so far, and we have like 800 doctors, but only the small amount of people, I'm pretty sure it's already over 100 million. Okay. But the fact is we have to strategically and being smart as far as, planning how we integrate. That's why we have to have an NDA for every member that comes in, because some of the information that we kind of share is sensitive. Like for example, I mean, Invisalign is giving me 4 Luminar, and that's a $30,000 toy. He's giving it for me for free, and I can teach every one of them how to do that. And how do you get that workflow so you can do the same thing and more? Because the special thing about that Luminar is the fact that they also comes with photogrammetry. Back in the days, we think that Shannon 3D is the only one that can do photogrammetry. But with the Lumina, they actually improve a little bit more. They can do photogrammetry, they can, do sales, they can do a lot more. It's really a presentation. You look at it as a presentation project, as how do you increase your conversion? And I'm sure, Basil and, one of my hygienists here can tell us, in Heartland, they use NVIDIA. And then other practice, they use Overjet. Okay. With AI, it integrate every single process, including your phone call. If you have that kind of additional thing that adds to your volume, your workflow is much, much easier. So that's really the shortcut. Instead of doing this in, 10 years, we shorten up into 3 years. So that's basically what our opportunities are, especially the healthcare sector is really behind. When the healthcare sector is behind, you have a lot more advantages. And I'll share with you later on with one of my, key managers, what we do in other area that really, kind of move the needle. But without further to say, Zhang, why don't you continue?
Can I just add something?
Please.
So
Awesome.
Dr. Hui,
Please.
yeah, you summarized it very well, Dr. Hui. So basically, this is 1.6 million practice, right, versus 2.8, right, my practice. So the question is like, did I work my staff to the bone? No, we did not. I mean, the expense for staff size is about the same than a small practice and a medium size. So the question is like, how do we do it, right? So we do it very comfortably, and it's like having AI is like having a dishwasher versus like not having this dishwasher, right? Like you have to call a bunch of insurances and they get confused, and then you have to input this data, and then some people input it well, some people don't, right? And then the next staff have to use this data to do a treatment plan, and might be accurate, might be, like I say, you might miss that 500 a bone graft because someone says it's covered by mistake, right? And that's a huge mistake. It's not like $5, right? So all I'm saying here is that it's important to be helping each other and grow, and that's the interest that I mean, I think Leipzig has an interest to see, can we, bring this to other offices. And we're talking about having a class in July about functional occlusion, and I mean, definitely I can share how the systems integrate into essence of dentistry, my practice, and how that translates to. And I think Dr. Hui has other practices that he does other things that I think is very interesting to learn as well. I mean, by myself, I don't think I can create, as good as a system or like have more options. But if we work together, then we have more solutions, and you can pick and choose what works the best for you. I think that's the element of a group. Dr. Hui, Dr. Zhang, can you go back to the previous slide for the merge acquisition?
Okay.
Because I think tonight we want to focus mostly on the inorganic growth, like how do you build equity through this type of like arbitrage, right? Like how do you buy practices and when do we join? Like do we join? It's like a startup, right? Like do you join a startup at the beginning of the startup? Like when Facebook was like not even
Nothing.
IPO, right? Like this is like solo practice, but not an IPO yet. By the time we become like a DSO, it's like we're going IPO already, right? And then do you want to wait 3 years or do you want to wait 5 years to join? Definitely your equity at this level, if you sell solo, it's definitely not optimized profit. But if you join at this level, being a founder, at that level, it's definitely very interesting. Even 3 years in, if you join, like let's say 8 practices, and then we double this to 20 practices to 40 million. Even at this level, your equity is still pretty, attractive. And especially if you join a group of people that have the same mindset, but it's a lot. This slide has a lot of information. So I rather people ask questions about it because I mean, I lived through 2 years of, through Gary, my CFO. He taught me for 2 years. So this is a lot to learn in one slide here.
Okay. Data, is this a slide you want here?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
I just don't know if anyone has questions.
Okay, here in the chat, the question is, okay, how much is the third level? Another question is the revenue here refer to production or collection? Is talking about the previous slide.
Right. It's collection. Revenue refers to collection, and then there's like net operation. There's a profit too, right? So revenue refers to collection. So you have productions, and then you have 2.8, 2.9 collections. Or production is probably more than 2.8, 2.9. It's probably 3 point something. But this is how much we collected. And then the profit, right? So the profit is your collection minus your expenses. That gives you the profit. So we LifeSeed is interested in mainly the human aspect, the staff wages. Like I said, we're not working them to the bone. It's just like we want to make sure they're comfortable, they increase their productivity. And we work at that level, like collection level, to increase your collection, also to increase your profit. Because those are two different metrics, two different KPIs to track. You can increase your collection, let's say 3 million, but then you have a lot of expenses. You take home still the same, even though you have a high collection. So we definitely want to increase your profit as well. And profit, it's hard to increase profit than collection to, because you can use like revenue operation that using data to help your staff understand what's customer success. Revenue transformation, you input AI as the key element of the workflow. And then you have revenue enhancement that we talked about last week, like how do we have med tech company like ApnoMed. ApnoMed is not scalable. That's why they work with us. They can handle 15 dentists right now, but it increased dentist revenue, but they're not scalable because unlike LifeSeed, they have education that's very heavy, that's very labor intensive driven, that brings the company down. And also they have an appliance, right? So the appliance is also very expensive. They have to maintain, ship. So that's why we work with them very closely. And I just to be transparent, we do have some share with ApnoMed. And the level of time that we spend with ApnoMed is higher than Wesper or other company out there, just because we're spending a lot of time helping them build that automation, that workflow there as a startup. So Wesper is a little bit older startup. They don't need that, but we're integrating the revenue cycle with them. But there's a lot. It's not simple. It has to come out simple at the end of the day, but the working phase is actually a lot of work, a lot of trial error, a lot of implementation, a lot of like brainstorming. So until we get to something that's very refined, unfortunately, it takes a lot of hours. Yeah.
Well, that's part of the growing process. The growing process is always going to be difficult. And, I don't think anybody here, is trying to say that success is overnight. But
Right.
then, the focus of the inorganic growth, that's overnight.
Yes.
Using somebody else OPM, other people's money to push yourself to doubling your numbers, that is overnight. That is a quick, situation. And that's why, you have the success when you are in a certain metrics that you can carry yourself in an exponential way. So most dentists focus on organic growth, and most business as well. It's just when you get to a different level, there's always 5 to 6 level of business. I can even go up to, there's other people that talk about, more than that. It's kind of like, to use a simple analogy, it's kind of like when we first started, we used an X-ray in the panel, and then we thought that was pretty good until we said we see a CBCT. The second we see a CBCT, like a life change, I thought it was, and we tell ourselves, oh my God, that's so much more that we can see. Okay, until you get to the 4th dimension and the 5th dimension, and then you find out, oh my God, where have I been? I missed all these things. I mean, because if nobody tell you about it, you are really not going to be aware of the key ingredient. And that's why Allison is talking about focused. When you just change your way of planning a little bit, and you notice that how successful people does it. I really don't do anything much instead of just, my whole career is pretty much copy and paste for people who's way smarter than I am. And I just paste what they do and improve the process a little bit. And that's usually, I'm not as bright as Allison and Dr. John, okay? So I have to take the low-hanging fruit. So that's an easier way to learn how other people does it and get to $7 million per offices doing, the same thing, but streamline it in a different manner. So this way you can get the most, out of the same process that you go through. And when you see today's a lot of the big player like Heartland or Aspen, when they tell people, when they hire people, they actually tell them, they'll pay them, by production. Why? Because the production and collection is pretty much 100%. So they collect 100% of what they produce because they can keep that efficiency to a very, very high degree.
Mhm.
So as far as competition is concerned, you know where they are, and it's different. I mean, they have 20 people just focusing on one thing, and we only have us sitting around doing 20 things at the same time. So it's a very different mentality. So today, I don't think maybe in our group, maybe we have a little bit advantage because, a lot of the doctors here are Chinese. They might be able to, still see a lot of Chinese patients. But for the rest of the world, it's really competitive, because it's very hard to compete with the DSO because they have the manpower, they have the resources, they have everything. So if you don't have backup and you don't have people who are very, very strong to help you, like for example, I'm in the marketing part, and then Rob, in this group, he's, very, very focused on high level marketing. They can, get you all the leads and all the stuff and have a streamlined workflow. And according to my experience that I had before, every office make a lot of money if they have new patients coming in. That's, how the scheduling institute started, like I would say 15 years ago. When you have when you have 200-300 new patients coming in, even though your system is falling apart, you're still doing very well. So, some of the thing, but if we can improve our system, digitize it in a certain way and organize it and streamline it and doing it smart, not only smart, but more strategic and intelligently, we can get maybe 99% of, what we want. So that's really the holy grail of why we expand. And, sometimes I think I also kind of speed up a little bit talking about the sleep apnea. We know that the sleep apnea is a very good workflow, but the issue in the past is really hard to collect money. Okay, you have to go through medical, you have to go through all these complicated situation, and By the time you give it to the medical doctor, sometimes your patient disappear. Okay, so that's a very tough situation. We want to keep the patient in our pocket. Say I'm gonna use an example, okay, and this is nothing to any one of my doctors. I have one doctor that refer a patient for extraction, wisdom teeth extraction. I mean, we have people in the office to do extraction, but because of the particular circumstances, then he referred out. And then that example, that patient obviously did not go to the oral surgeon that we refer. Most patients these days, they go online to check who have a surgeon and who is reasonably priced. So what happened, that patient go to another practice that it's almost like a DSO practice or like a bigger practice that have general and oral surgeon or something like that. And then we lost the patient totally. We totally lost the patient because once the patient go in there, they talk to them about, okay, oh, you should have done it this way. Oh, you should have done it that way. And most patient does not know. They have no clue. When you see somebody have a well presentation and then they have a good system, most patients would just stay in the other practice. So, just as a small example to show that every step that we do, we need to focus on the end result. And the end result is what we're trying to focus on. How to make that 1% to 2% changes to ensure us to be the top 1%. And
Yes.
that's really the key. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Dr. Huey, I really appreciate what you're saying. I can tell you in my own experience that I worked with one of the top kind of clinical case acceptance experts last year, and he taught me just a few techniques to create a sense of urgency in the treatment plan for the patient. I mean, why act now and not later? That small difference gave me extra 10% income per year because it's just about creating a sense of urgency. So all those little hacks, if we put our minds together, then it really, really makes a big, big difference. So I can tell you from my own experience, 10% extra cash flow per year, just on understanding the concept of urgency and act now versus later, and the interplay between me and the patient before he walks to the secretary. He walks up to the front desk, that he knows why I'm doing this for him, why I'm doing this for them now, or why if you wait, X, Y, and Z will happen. So I took that for granted because I've been a dentist for so long. But then I realized, almost like taking a shower, you have to once in a while realize, look at your bad habits, fix them, and you become super profitable.
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's why Heartland used NVIDIA, and then the other player, they use Overjet. Okay, so if you don't have these two things, then for us, we can negotiate a lot cheaper price. If you go out, you have to pay $500 plus installation and all these things. But if we do it, we probably can get it as a much reduced price because we buy in a group. So that's why if you're not in a group, the insurance won't even look at you. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. You negotiate your prices, at least 10 to 20% in most insurance, and you can become their preferred provider. They'll give you the patient first because they have that relationship with you. And the software that you use, like for example, Overjet have a key ingredient already with a lot of insurance company. So they already accept that key ingredient already. So your return rate is much faster. And with NVIDIA, the difference is they also tell you, if you don't do this treatment today, what is going to happen to you in 2 years. Either you lost your teeth, you break your thing, or you have other issues. So it gives you a sense of urgency.
Great.
So that moves the needle as much as what we want it to be.
Yeah.
So.
I would say yes. If you, like Russell said earlier, if you increase like 10%, depending where the metrics are, you can increase your sell like here, right? Half $500,000 more a month, right? So what we're looking at with AppNomad is that like we do the marketing, have 40 patients, new patient, OSA, obstructive sleep apnea patients a month. I said, okay, that's great. And then you have 25%, like my practice have about 200 hygiene patients a month. So well, I'm like, okay, great, we'll have 50 patients, right? So total 90 patients. So that's like your marketing lead, right? The 40 patient is like, how about your sales lead and your sales conversion? How about your retention lead and retention conversion? And that's where the numbers start to drop, because we all know, like, by the time the patient say, hey, I want to do like treatment for SA, do the appliance for me, right? Then you're like, okay, we get like Wesper to do the test, or like this test from like the Ring, right? And then they disappear. Like you never get to the delivery of the appliance, like the 4,000 or the 3,000 appliance, because the patient just disappear. So yes, I was like, yes, Abnormal, we might have a good marketing lead and maybe good marketing conversion, because they're like, we're going to teach your staff how to say on the phone, and when this patient call, you can convert them. But I'm like, in the workflow, if we don't have efficiency workflow, and we depend on those front office, do not know how to bill medical, do not know like how to get the doctor's order. We don't even have like electronic prioritization, because we only have e-claim, that we cannot get to $500,000 extra a month. It's not realistic. So that's why LifeSeat is about revenue transformation. It's AI-driven workflow, because when those critical areas you need that, your staff might not come through for it. You might not have that $500,000 extra a month. It's just reality. Even if you have $100,000 a month, it's great. But still, right? It's like, do you track those numbers? Do you track marketing conversion? Do you track sales conversion? Do you track retention conversion? Because at the end of the day, when you give this appliance, right, the retention conversion is actually the key element, because you don't get to that $60,000 case. But if you don't even get to the, like, you do well in marketing, like Amama does well, refer the patient to you, but we can't even get to the sales conversion because we don't know where to get a medical order. We don't know how to file this claim. We don't know how to get the prioritization or how much insurance is going to cover. None of that we know, the staff know. Then you can't even deliver the appliance. If you can't deliver the appliance, then how do you know this appliance is going to work or not? Most likely the appliance is not going to work. So patients might have to go Invisalign plus surgical, most likely those medium to severe cases. So that's what we work with ApnoMed, because these are workflow issues that traditionally, manually, depending on your staff, is not resolvable, and you cannot increase $500,000 a month. And if we can solve that, then we can increase $500,000 a month using OSA, or even full mouth reconstruction using the printed composite and the KDP COISI program. It just it's doable. It's just like somewhere in the workflow we drop the ball.
Yeah, that's the reason why, we are focused on, the process, how we can make this a 2 to 3 appointment thing, and Dr. John even take it to the next level. Okay, in the last one, that the CDA convention, we discussed that we even can print the OSA appliances, and we can even print the aligners. So that takes us to a totally different platform. But while somebody else is working on the patients, somebody else has to focus on the business. So our job is to focus on the business, how to expand it, to as many practices as possible and grow them as high as possible. And then that's why in this process, just on one discipline in dentistry, which is the sleep apnea, which can be paid every 2 years within the medical insurances. So, that's kind of like, a lot of revenue. I mean, if you can hit $500,000 a month, in about the second year or the third year, then, this is just hot lead. That means the patient that's in your practice, not even including the one that is coming from marketing. And if you can market it in a certain way to let them know, because there's so many people who's already doing the, what do you call that? The appliances. It's so easy to convert them. It's so big because they're already, using the process. Like one of my friends, he's already, the CPAC. They're already using the CPAC. So, he just say, I cannot carry that to go to vacation. And I don't care. As long as my insurance is paying for it, I'm going to get one every 2 years because he wanted to get new ones. So for him, it's every 2 year situation. And, you can repeat that process, $4,000 to $6,000 or $4,000 to $8,000 every 2 years. So your number just on that is going to exponentially expand it. So how we focus is what we strategically plan on the end result. So, I think that's the key that we wanted to focus on, how to make one. And then, we have a few other one, that we do. I mean, for me, we also do a little bit more cosmetic. We do some laser, and I think that John already said, in Raymond's practice, he have like 6 or 7 laser, the Photona laser. I mean, I remember, back in the days, I remember one doctor was telling me, the Photona laser is really expensive and it's really not doable to buy it. But, if you see what it can do for you, if the revenue is enough, I mean, maybe Dr. Chen, you can share a little bit about what your experience are.
Yeah, I think I agree with Dr. Hui's. We doctors, we are living in the exciting time, and before I don't even thinking about this we can do, but since for the past whole year, we talking to the Dr. Hui and Dr. Han, we already talking about this idea almost a year, every week, okay? Then I think the thing can bring us together is Dr. Han's live sheet, this AI software, okay? And also, we are have some good weapon. We can teach, okay, like Dr. Xu's technique, implant, and Dr. Han's biomimetic 4-arch reconstruction. That's amazing, That's we are going to the more I think more exciting about that. Before we do the 4-arch reconstruction, I didn't do that much on the teeth. I do the implant, do a lot, but on teeth, but for the people how the practice, you want to build up the vertical, aesthetic. That's hard for me, but with the Dr. Han's technique, okay, that's easy, and also patient can pay it gradually, okay, even use their insurance. That's I think it's very good business clinical build up technique. And also here we talking about a lot. That's early this year I talk in the New York about the OSA, okay. They talk right now in the dentistry in the USA, they call the 2025 is the OSA year. You can go to the Facebook, a lot of people talking about this. But I think with Dr. Han's approach, we almost get there. Dr. Han developed a software, medical billing for that. Here we present, it's not like Dr. Hui said, extra marketing. It's internal marketing. You already had patient in your software. You can bring them out. Okay. I just right now work in the Bay Area. Okay. I go back to the software. You can easily find the people, around the 50 and have some high blood pressure, blah blah, something like that. You can get this one. Give them the OSA test. You have the patient, then you can easily do the oral implants and do the medical billing. Each patient you can get around 4,500. Every 2 years you get that one. I think the reason I say we are in the very exciting time is we have the tool, we have the weapons, and also we are the people here, especially from the digital dentist. We already know each other almost for 5 years. Yeah, we already have the trust. So next, we just how we apply this kind of techniques, a business, both technical and business skill to our practice. That's amazing. Yeah, that's what I'm exciting about it.
Yeah, so I mean, LifeSeat is to solve this kind of workflow problems that we have, right? And I think medical platforms becoming more and more electronic. The dental hasn't yet. So that's why it's so hard for us to build this software, because we have to be creative in our solutions. We've never seen this kind of problems before. And then to build it at scale, especially dentistry, the e-platform is very, very antiquated. And we had to find solutions in a way that we overcome all this issue. Medical is a bit easier, but medical is not 100% there yet. It's much more advanced than the dental reimbursement, the insurance. But that's why, insurance company have 1.5 trillion, whereas medical have 500 billion, dentistry has 200 billion, right? All the money is in insurance, and they don't give it to the doctors or the patient because they don't want to bring this electronic platform to make things more efficient. So that's what we're going against. But I think at the end we will get there. It's just like, I mean, it's progressing very well, but it's just taking a lot of time because the things that we had to deal with from the software standpoint, it's ridiculous.
Excuse me, Dr. Han. Can you repeat that? Just insurance, we pay the whole US pay insurance how much each year?
It's about, like they say, the whole industry is about 4.9 trillion, right? How much
4.9 trillion we pay
Yeah.
that, but the insurance only pay back to our professional for medical.
Yeah, amount of 4.9 trillion, insurance has 1.5 trillion. I think they get 1.5. US people pay 1.5 trillion to insurance company, which is like 3 times the market where Google and Facebook, like advertising market. Like when I do Google ads, I have to pay Google, right? So the advertising market in the US is about 450 billion. Like businesses pay Google and Facebook or other companies advertisement at 450 billion, right? But healthcare, we pay medical insurances, dental insurances, whatever insurances, about 1.5 trillion dollars a year. But that doesn't get paid to us or the patient.
Yes.
Goes to the insurance company.
Yes, because the patient employer pay 1.5 trillion to insurance, but we don't get paid 1.5 trillion. None of us do. And
We get the short end of the stick.
Yes, and that's why hospital don't make it, dental office don't make it, because we don't get paid. And the system, LifeSeat, when we build this connection, because we LifeSeat is a tech company. I mean, we're not a billing company, we're not EHR company, we're foremost a tech company. So when we try to use technology, because all engineer come from like, I mean, you have engineer like senior, and then you have principal. All engineer come from like principal at Meta or Microsoft. And a tech stack is mostly driven by Microsoft AI workload. AI workload is mostly most advanced at Microsoft because they invested at OpenAI. So they build a lot of tools for companies, any companies that want to build AI workload. And like AWS or like Google Cloud, nothing compares to Azure right now, but we do use multiple cloud services. And maybe because we're in Seattle, so we use a lot of Microsoft AI workflow. A lot of the AI tools that Microsoft developed right now, I think it's the best in the whole world. Like just like Kois, right? It's in Seattle, AppNoMed's in Seattle. So we like to work with people in Seattle, I guess. We just happen to be lucky to be in Seattle. But it's a nightmare dealing with, that's why we have InterSystem on our side. InterSystem is a tech company, and they understand as a health tech company how hard it is. The platform is very not at the same level than Microsoft or any of those big tech companies. It is moving very fast, especially medical. Dental, it's very slow. Like the API connection is like REST API versus like X12 or like some of these things so when we select a partner work with, it's very critical to see where the technology stack is. Like just like when we build a clinic, right? Or accountants different, right? Like Dave Bees, he's my accountant, just like solo practice. But then when we do a LifeSeat, we have to have this big, not big, it's medium-sized accounting firm where we have like personal income tax, corporate income tax, audit accountant. Like you need 3 type accountant now for this kind of business. So same, like when we pick a partner, we have to make sure the tech stack is it's advanced enough. And it's very frustrating. A lot of engineers are frustrated because healthcare is not, it's very old. So we have InterSystem because they've been almost 50 years old. And right now, Life is granted to utilize treatment use case for our software, which is like EHR. We access a lot EHR. But we asked CMS to grant us a payment use case, which is like, hey, I'm not an oral surgeon, I'm not MD, but I'm doing the surgical extractions. I'm removing this infection. I think Dr. Amanda Huan taught me very well about surgical technique, like procedures, right? And can we get reimbursed? But I'm not an MD. I don't have an MD degree. And CMS say, no, not the same rate an MD. But if you have an MD on your team, then yes, you can. So we're like, well, what would it take for you to change your policy? Because CMS will change your policy. Then the insurance are obligated to follow this new policy by CMS now. But is it implemented well? It's not always implemented well because CMS do not have all authority to make the insurance company do, like, just like the electronic privatization. It was, the deadline was 2022 and the commercial insurance didn't follow CMS rule. So now we extend to 2027. Then we have like quality assurance care. So CMS is implementing this regulation, and with Medicare, Medicaid have EPA eventually. They would. It's just like the healthcare technology is not the same speed than your traditional technology company. And that's the biggest gap for LifeSeed, to really have this tech engineer come to healthcare and they see this gap. It's hard to bridge, and we have to be very creative to find different types of solution. But that's what we work against. So payment use case is something that like when we present to CMS to use treatment use case to have access EHR, the argument we have was that doctors are medical, we get it, but dentists are doctors. Why can't we be doctors? Why can't surgery or sleep or even perio medicine be paid at the insurance level? Why can't we access EHR? So they're like, well, baby steps for LifeSeed, because LifeSeed is the first startup that can access EHR. So we will include you, but right now you can read or EHR, but you cannot write into it. Eventually we'll grant you the access to write into it. And then we can look into the user, like the payment use case. Like, is it okay for doctor to get paid at the medical level? And that's something we're pushing, but it'll take time because like right now we integrate with InterSystems EHR and the tech stack is also a little bit old because they're not truly a tech company. And so that's why it was so slow. It just, yeah.
But that's also is a good thing, though, Dr. Han, is the fact that when there is a problem and an efficiency, that's basically the low-hanging fruit, how we have the ability to go in and change it and become the first blue ocean to do it. You know, that's why I emphasize on the fact that I'm going to put in a little summary is the fact that, you know, what we're talking about is how to integrate the low-hanging fruit, that the efficiency or the problems that we have in dentistry to make it more efficient. And it's not really that complicated. Like, for example, we're integrated with an MSO. You know, this MSO that we integrate, they have 100 offices already. They're based on, you know, DC. And then they have ophthalmology, they have, you know, internal med, they have pretty much everybody. So we integrate direct with them, and eventually they want to join us to make the same thing with every single state, you know. So that's expanding. So we have the MD on our side. Direct referral in my practice, I think, I don't know if Dr. Han is, there's another Indian doctor that we kind of work with. She's the medical director in Hippocrates. Hippocrates is one of the first, you know, cancer therapy clinic in the world that have a very, very strategic different ways of how they handle cancer treatment. And she used to be the medical director. I don't know if she's in here. I kind of invited her. And there's another doctor that also worked with us, Dr. Joshua. You know, they're both the medical directors. And what they do is they use a shortcut. I mean, I cannot tell you what kind of shortcut they use because this, you know, you have to sign an NDA to know that. But what they do is they use a different methodology to improve the status of the patient to become healthy very quickly through diet, through stem cell treatment, and through maybe hyperbaric chamber treatment. All of those things that we're trying to implement in my West Palm office. So not only are you going to get younger, you're going to feel better, and if you don't have any issue, you're going to go back, totally in a different level. And that's another thing that me and Basil was talk about. The herbal company, the herbal supplement company that he and the other young lady from Toronto, they do. If you just take the supplement, you feel like you're 20 years old. You feel like you're 20 years old again. So there's a lot of shortcut that you could do, to make it much, much easier and integrate medicine into your, armamentarium, in a much simple manner. But the fact is, you just have to, have a certain direction. And I think that's basically, what I would like to say without really going to more detail. One of my manager, Paola, she's in this platform also. And I took her to, a seminar that is from, they only focus on doctors about, for certain kind of laser work. They focus on, not only selling the laser, but to carry the marketing and also carry the streamlining the employee and finalizing, the income for the doctor. They guarantee the doctor, they put $50,000 to marketing. Okay, that's their process. A little bit different, but I'm just kind of, some of the really simple is the fact that not only do they help you, they give you $50,000 marketing to streamline your process. They, get you the machine, and they make sure that you make money. It's just the same process. Our process is like, we make sure our patient just need to say yes. We take care of the financing, we take care of everything else most efficiently, so that we eliminate all the problems or all the, the inefficiency in the process to make it streamlined so the patient is happy, and then all they got to do is say yes. Insurance will cover most of the process, and then how we can, be number one. The same thing if our client is a doctor or a dentist. If we become a DSO in a different level, our client, we want to make sure our team is going to make money by guaranteeing them the ability to have a serious cash flow, to not only the marketing part, the system, and also the automation.
Yes.
So I think in a short form, that's basically what we like to, focus. And then, and that's very, very key. I don't know if anybody have any questions, or if Basil, you want to say about some of your interesting products that I think was really cute. What I learned is, another level is another guy, and then one of the people that we have, is the reason we cannot say it out loud is because he used embryonic stem cells to do that. Okay, so when he do that, it's a totally different level. People really, their hair start growing, they feel like they're 20s again. So it's a very different concept. It's just that, you have to go in there to experience it. And that's why there's something called a transformation.
So I agree with Dr. Hui here, but I think we will get there, right? I mean, this kind of revenue enhancement and automations and systemization, right? But right now, the DSO is the fastest, easiest to increase the equity, right?
Overnight.
Dr. Zhang, can you go back to that slide again? Today was supposed to focus on that part, the merger acquisition. Not sure if you guys have any questions about that.
So I was going to say that there are two kinds of dentists: the dentists that are here in this meeting and the ones that are not. The ones that are here have an objective and they have a worldview and they're trying to improve everything. Whereas I spent many years as a young dentist without an objective. And I think the difference when you look towards the future, those dentists who will succeed are the ones who are doing what we're doing, thinking ahead and having an actual objective. So this is the first time I spent time with you. Then in this group, and I realized that that's the most important thing is that people took time off their life to come and spend an hour to create an objective in their mind for where they want to be in a few years. So that's very important.
Yeah. Very good.
That's correct.
Mhm.
So anybody have any question on this particular slide? Because that's a very difficult slide to understand, because that's the slide that basically is going to double your equity overnight. If not, then I think it's kind of late. I'm going to take the last 5 seconds to explain to you why sometimes I get lucky. I think, you know, sometimes it's really who you hang out with. Let me see. I think, let me see the current tab. And every single time I do this, I have a little bit issues. So, okay. So can you see my screen? Let me see. Oh, I lost my screen. Man, things happen. Where's my screen? Can you see my screen a little bit, Dr. Zhang?
Yeah. I can see your screen.
You can see my screen, right? Okay, this is, 25 years ago, I got really lucky. I work with, you know, I get lucky, I hang out with the right people. So that's why I say hanging out with the right people is very good. I hang out with like 5 doctors, they're OBGYN, pediatric, and then internal medicine. You know, I mean, I didn't know anything, but it sounds good. I just jumped in. Okay. So these are the campus that we created in 1999. Okay. 1999, we built this campus. It's about 30 acres. Okay. And out of this campus, we have probably about 15 to 20 buildings. And you can see, and you probably don't see my office. My office is my building. In here, we kind of owned it. It's about 2-story, but you know, it's about 25,000 square feet. And inside this campus, we have lab, we have general medicine, we have pharmacy, we have urgent care, we have specialists, we have real estate, we have beauty, you know, all kinds of things that is integrated into the campus. And then, you know, it's a beautiful campus, you know, that also include, we have tennis court, we have volleyball, we have, you know, a lot of different things that integrate into the campus. Okay, so even though at that moment I didn't really know much about it, I mean, I think this is the back of my building, and we have the city going there to, you know, have a bus drive by there, and then bring patients in, and we have a, you know, you have another dentist there, and then we have different specialty, you know. So those are the things that, you know, we have a ballroom, you know, we have events, we do it over there, you know. So the 30-acre, I mean, just my building has 25,000, so we have like 15 of those or 16 of those. And then let me just calculate 25 times 15. So it's probably about 400,000 square feet of space, or maybe a little bit less or more. But, you know, just a few of us actually, I mean, actually 2 of the doctor actually owns it. You know, I only own my building, but I just refinanced my building for like $8 million, a little bit. We had the last, you know, I kind of saved a few $100,000 by negotiating with the right bank, with the right strategy. So what I'm saying is sometimes it's really who you work with and who you actually have an advanced, you know, vision of what you're going to do. At that time, I have no clue what I'm doing. I just hang out with people who are smarter than me, and they build something that is bigger than my expectations. So I think what I learned from that thing is sometimes you have to have a little faith. You know, your faith is really what's going to determine, you know, where you're going to go in life. And, you know, obviously we're doctors in this group. Most of the people is the doctors in this group. And, you know, we have a license to protect. It's not like some other people that they don't have a license to protect. They can just tell you one thing and jump to another thing. So whatever we do, we have to back it up by data and science. And then we're not going to run away tomorrow. We just basically need to make sure that, you know, we not only take care of the people that we work with, but also the team that we work with, so we can take it to a different level. You know, most of my team don't even know that I own that building, but, you know, the campus, we built it, you know, 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I mean, it's worth a lot more money. Just the rental, you know, just the rental income that, you know, the rental profit is like $100K a month, you know, for my building, just in that, just one of my office. So I get very lucky because I hang out with the right people. And then the key is if you hang out with people who are smarter than you and take you to a different level, you know, your life is just much, much easier. At that moment, I didn't really know anything. I just follow along. But, you know, I just didn't know the guy had the skill set to take me to that level. And, you know, now there's other things that we get involved with and stuff like that when we do it together. So I think sometimes it's the faith that we're trying to have with each other. And then this group, we have been, you know, we have working together in this group for like 4 or 5 years since the pandemic. And that John is the leader of the group to, you know, really give us the leadership and also the knowledge to go forward. And then, you know, Basil is going to help us to you know, to do, you know, the perio. And then we have a surgeon, and we have, you know, physician that in our team. And then we have aesthetic. You know, we just have all the star kind of, you know, aligned together. So I think that's the only thing that I think would help all of us to grow, you know. And we're not really asking you to give us like $10,000, like a lot of classes that you take. We're not really in that category, and you can just join us for free. So, but we do have to have signed an NDA before we can, you know, go over all the details. So that's basically, you know, what I like to share. And, you know, unless, I mean, it's getting late, Dr. John, do you have any last, you know, thing that you want to share?
I think because of time, we just stop here. I think that I totally agree with Dr. Hui's the vision. Yeah, you know, we are as a human, we cannot do everything ourselves. But if we join a team, you know, I remember have their own strengths. That's the best thing for us to do. Okay. And today, I think Dr. Han talking a lot about the EBITDA and the life sheet, and we have a lot of other things. Like right now, Dr. Basso join us and also contribute some of his own strengths. That's good. We have a lot of this kind of thing. Just like Dr. Hui said, we have the WeChat group and also have the Facebook group. You can join us and for free. And when you join, and we are going to give you the NDA. You sign in, then we can start our journey. Okay. Yeah. I think any daughter, if you have question, you drop to WeChat or drop to whatever you know, then forward to us. We can answer that. Okay. Oh, good night.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Have a
Thank you.
good memory day. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.